All right, folks, it's that time of year once again. The NHLPA polling all of its members, putting out a survey, and we get to see the results and react to them. So let's take a look here. The first one, who is the best goal scorer? It's Auston Matthews, and he gets just under half the vote. He scored 41 goals this year, guys. He's the best goal scorer in the NHL right now, and it's not really close. Ovechkin's still getting 33% of the vote, even though he didn't have as much of a year this year. Pastrnak and McDavid on the board as well. Thought McDavid might be a little bit higher, but again, he had a solid year on his own. 9% picking other, but yeah, I think Matthews is the right call here. As we scroll down, who is the best defenseman in the NHL? Victor Hedman didn't have a great year this year. Still got 65% of the vote. Now, I guess the question wasn't who was the best defenseman this year, because then it should have been Adam Fox, at least up there. Adam Fox not even cracking the top 5 here, which is kind of questionable. I think he was something like 7th or so, which is kind of odd. But look, Victor Hedman, amazing defenseman. Not as great this year, but he might still be the best defenseman in the NHL. Roman Josi getting a chunk. Cale Makar getting a chunk. Drew Doughty getting a bit under 3%. That's 3% of players who said he's the best defenseman in the league. I don't think so. It's kind of questionable. And then John Carlson getting 2%. This Doughty one just sticks out like a sore thumb to me, though. That's odd pick. Who's the best goalie? Andrei Vasilevskiy. Not surprising to see the players choose Vasilevskiy. Just over 50% of the vote. Marc-Andre Fleury, a reasonable second place. Carey Price, Hellebuck, reasonable third, fourth place. Tuukka Rask. These are all reasonable choices. Kind of surprised some of the other goalies didn't get as much love as Vasilevskiy did, but look, he's been one of the top goalies in the league for a few years now, and he will probably continue to be. So not too much to complain about there. Who's the most complete player? Crosby and Bergeron tying for first on this one. Fine by me. Two of the best two-way players in the NHL. That's fine. They deserve to be up there. Barkov getting some love again. I love that for Barkov. McDavid and McKinnon are up next, and then Anze Kopitar getting some love at just under 5%. That's good to see as well. Kopitar has been great. Just LA hasn't been good for the last couple of years, so he's kind of faded out of the minds of lots of people. But yeah, I again, you can't complain when you're talking about a complete player. Sidney Crosby, Patrice Bergeron, all of these guys you'd love to have on your team, all fine answers. This one's a little interesting. If you need to win one game, who would you have on your team at any position? And this is one of the first times that we've seen McDavid get in over Sidney Crosby, and I think that's fair. Look, you can go and look at the playoffs and be like, yeah, well, the Oilers got crushed in the playoffs. Yeah, but Pittsburgh also kind of got crushed in the playoffs. McDavid's just so far and away so good, and the fact that he can basically just choose to score at any time. Look, he hasn't had much playoff success, but a lot of that is the team around him. Getting 37% of the vote. And, look, these are players who have played against these guys before. These are guys who have lined up against Connor McDavid, and they know. They're like, hey, I'm just outmatched here. Sidney Crosby, of course, so much just clutch cachet, right? Multiple Stanley Cups, gold medals, all that good stuff. Basically the best player in the world for a good 10 to 15-year stretch. So not surprised to see him up there. McKinnon, again, totally expect to see him here. Bergeron, best two-way forward in the league, probably. Fine by me having him there. Andrei Vasilevskiy getting a good chunk. Again, if you want a guy who's going to get you a shutout, kind of surprised that maybe Carey Price didn't get up in here as he has so much of that one game notoriety, I guess you could say. And then Patty Kane coming in at 6th place on that. Who has the best shot? Alex Ovechkin getting half of the vote. Auston Matthews getting about 30%. Weber and Laine, McKinnon, and Pastrnak all getting little bits down here. But the real ones are Ovechkin and Matthews. And this kind of makes sense to me. Matthews has a really quick release, a really well-placed release, and he does a really good job of putting himself in a position to score goals. While Ovechkin is a lot more just brute force. I'm just going to rip it past you, and you're not going to be able to stop it. So best shot, totally agree here. I think it is Ovechkin. And yeah, I think Matthews is more of a... Matthews does have an excellent shot. I'm not trying to take anything away from him. Look, 30% of the players think his is the best. So I do see why they went Ovechkin here. Who's the best stick handler? 50% going to Patrick Kane, 25% to McDavid, McKinnon, Matthews, Barzal, Barkov. I thought McDavid would be a little bit higher here. Although McDavid, McDavid's hands are nuts, but a lot of his skill is just his speed and being able to. The thing about McDavid is he just does everything at a higher speed than everyone else, which makes it way more impressive. But Patrick Kane, unreal hands, not too surprising there. Who's the best passer? Backstrom and Kane basically tying at 20%. Two really good setup guys. Draisaitl in there, McDavid in there, Marner in there, Crosby in there. Not surprised to see Backstrom get it. He's been up there in assists basically every year. And, he's been setting up Ovechkin for years. So that's the end of the on-ice section. Let's move over to the player personality side. Which player is the most unique tape job? Pastrnak getting most of the vote. And it looks like he just sort of has like 4 strips of tape on there. That's it. Just 4. It's unique, but it's kind of boring. Stützle is interesting, though. He's got sort of the toe that he does, and then just like the thick, like maybe 2 strips of tape around. I kind of like that. But the bottom of your stick is going to get torn up pretty quick there. Nikita Gusev, you kind of get this weird overhead view, but he basically just has like, he spaces his tape apart, so there's gaps in between it. That's kind of odd. Panarin just does sort of the middle and then up and then does the full toe. Jamie Benn just does the middle, no toe, no heel. And then Fiala, it looks like Fiala does everything but the bottom, which is kind of odd. But yeah, they went with Pastrnak. I would have given it to Stützle, but whatever. Which player is the most fashionable? Auston Matthews getting a lot of love here. Pastrnak, Subban, Lundqvist, Letang, Hintz. Look, Lundqvist is just the most handsome. That's far and away. I think Subban could have been higher up there. There's a lot of players that are fashionable, though. You could have seen like a Pettersson up here as well. He's very, fashion sensey. Who's the most superstitious player? Sidney Crosby getting a good chunk of the vote, and that makes sense. The whole 87 thing. His contract's $8.7 million. Apparently he does everything a set way every day, and that's just the way it is. Not surprising to see him get the most vote. Michael Frolik is kind of surprising, getting 5% of the vote. I don't know what Frolik's superstitions are. That's 1/20th of the NHL saying it's him. Cogliano, Perry, Girard, I don't know their superstitions, but they're all getting a good chunk of the votes. And then the next section is season opinions. This is our last section of the poll here. So they asked them 2 questions. Would you like to see regional divisions carried forward? 68% say no. And this makes sense. We're going back to the regular divisions next year. But that's still surprising though. 32% of the teams liked the new divisions, even though they might have a little more travel than normal. But the other thing that was really interesting, would you like to see a series-style schedule carried forward? 66% say yes. And that was really fun, right? We had these sort of mini-series where you'd play a team 4 times in a row, 3 times in a row. And it gave a chance to make the games feel more important. It wasn't like, all right, we got our 1 game in Columbus on a Tuesday night, right? It was like, all right, we're going to play Columbus Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. We got to go and win 2 of them. So the sort of little series things, they added more intensity. They made a little bit of a rivalry take place. You maybe there's a bad hit or a team gets blown out one night. The next night, the other team's going hard, coming back, trying to win. So that was always interesting. Which reverse retro jersey is your favorite? The players went with the Avalanche, and I like this one too. But I think the Kings is better. I love this Kings jersey. This is just the purple pops so nicely, but the Nordiques jersey is fire. Calgary Flames getting some love. I just love the contrast of the yellow and the black. Looks really good. The Subway Minnesota Wild got a good bit of love. Capitals I don't love that much. Anaheim Ducks, yes. The Wild Wing jersey, absolutely. And the Florida Panthers getting a good chunk of the vote as well. Anyways, that's pretty much it. That's what the players thought. You can leave your answers down below in the comments. Leave a like, hit subscribe, do all that good stuff. Of course, we'll have more regular videos coming out as more off-season news breaks. And we'll see you in the next one.